sir. Good that you have joined. I think we should be starting any time now. How is Nairobi?
Not bad, a little bit chilly, but the sun was out today.
Okay, good. So we should be beginning shortly. I think we can give a few minutes and then we start.
Okay.
So
let me just prepare and then, yeah.
You'll be sharing your document, right?
Yes. I just want to prep it and then I'll share the screen at the next 2 minutes.
What I'll do, I can just do the first, the intro, and then
Okay.
and then take over. But let me just put the screen for now, and then once you take over, you can you can share your screen as well.
All right.
Thanks.
How you doing?
Good. I think we can now start. Taita, you are there.
Yes, yes, I am.
Good. Thank you so much. So for all the participants who managed to log in this evening, good evening. I hope this I hope this finds you. Yeah, thank you so much and welcome to this second series of our presentations. Last week we were going through job search and career pathing. So today we are really lucky to have Taita Ngetich to present to us about tech apps and innovation. So just to paint some background, even at this time of COVID-19, where all of us are actually locked down, we are working from home. I think the silver lining in all this is that it has actually brought the power of digital working in force. So you know the fourth industrial revolution is actually with us, and thanks to COVID-19, it has actually been able to bring it even faster. And we are experiencing a lot of that even at the moment. You know, you're working from home, you're using the digital platforms, you are trying to reach out to your customers, you are trying uh, continue working while at home thanks to these digital platforms. So having said that, that really needs, you know, the mass to be able to really utilize and exploit these new applications, new technology applications. And this evening we'll just be going through how that can be possible. And we are actually lucky to have Taita to take us through this very important topic. And we're really happy, Taita, that you are able to accept our invitation. And you know, you being the innovator and really award winner in that, you're right. I'm really happy to tap into it and extend in that. Really expect a lot of passion, and particularly the end. What's appearing on your screen is a Menti where we actually interact. You can be able to log in that www.menti.com and when prompt for applications thereafter. Otherwise, thanks and welcome again. We're really happy. Taita, I think you can take over from there, sir.
Great, thank you so much, Mr. Ciele and everyone. It's always exciting to talk about tech and innovation, especially now that everything is happening across the world. So I won't take much of your time. I'll just straight into my presentation. Mainly, we will be talking about ideally how we start a business, what are things investors want to hear, how we from the different risks. So it's going to be a general presentation, not quite specific. The idea is just to have a conversation around apps and innovation, and then towards the end, we'll have a chance to ask the many questions that we may have. Great. So my name is Taita, and I'm the co-founder of Aluminum Greenhouses Kenya. At Aluminum, we are a farming solutions partner, working with smallholder farmers not only in Kenya, but now across East Africa, providing greenhouses, trainings, farm inputs, all the way to even market. So we are trying to position ourselves as a turnkey solution provider, specifically to farmers, both small and medium as well as large. So I think I'm picking the wrong slide, but today's discussion is pretty exciting because I wanted us by the end of the presentation to ask ourselves the question, how do we build and how do we scale? So it's one thing to build tech apps and to have an innovation, and it's another to scale. And towards the end, we'll answer the question. Is the idea that I have can it be built, and is it scalable? So those are the two questions that we'll try as much as possible to answer. Ideas start with the problem we solve. Our entrepreneurs the world have definitions of problem. In my context, or what I've learned over the past 6 years, is that it needs to be a problem that is so huge that people would want to be part of you and solve that problem. Now, this is not to say that small problems do not need to be solved, but the logic is the bigger the problem, the more the money there is to be made out of it. And how we define problems is using numbers. So as if you have any business idea, you have to ask yourself, how many people are facing this challenge? If it's maybe 100,000 people, then you might not convince people later on to invest in your business or in your idea. But if we are having numbers in the millions, you're addressing, say, an issue of unemployment for women affecting over 10 million women in Africa, or you're solving a problem of Medicare affecting 50 million citizens, then people would want to hear, okay, this is a huge problem and we need to address it. So that's the whole premise of any business. Secondly, some of the times people ask the question, then how do I decide what problem to address? Well, the world has made it very simple to decide on what to address. And I like the SDGs. Everyone is trying to address the SDGs. So it's a common understanding that these are the 17 problems that we've agreed as the globe that we need to address. So if you can align your problem to the SDGs, then later on, as we talk about funding, you'll see that most of them are aligned to the SDGs. So then from the problem, we go to the solution, right? Building tech apps, most of the times we've defined the problem, but the solution is not accurate. So how exactly do we voice out the solution? So it needs to be affordable. Cost is always a factor when you're talking about solutions. Now, some in certain sectors, but at the end of the day, the main commodity that every business chases or wants more of it is the money. So cost will always be a discussion on your solution. Secondly, it has to leveraging on technology really helps define the solution much better. And right now, because of COVID-19, if you are not using a solution in technology, then you're being forced to use technology, because everyone now is going online. People are staying home and they're only purchasing through online platforms. So you will realize that if your solution was just going to be a basic brick and mortar business, which is the traditional maybe hardware business where you depend on people to come in, buy your product, and then you make your money, then right now you're having a challenge. But if you were an online platform where people would come in and through clicking just buy the product, then the access to technology is helping you. Again, on the solution part, scalability comes in. As much as you've addressed the cost, you're leveraging on technology, you need to ask yourself, how quickly can I grow this business to be reaching out to 1 million people across different countries? So usually we answer the question on scalability on how fast can I replicate this same solution to reach more people? And that's what most solutions must be able to do. If at all we need to talk about transforming lives or having a tech innovation that is able to scale fast. Now, if you look at the examples, and we'll talk about the Facebook and the Snapchat, them build the whole concept of down an app and use it. So it's really anywhere answer or can use an app, right? And then once you move from a solution in, you come back again to the market, so that you'll find that the market is really tied to the problem, right? We find the problem and say, okay, think this is affecting 50 million. Example, all kinds at any one point need to spend money easily, right? So the total address market there is the which is the realistic sense of this 100, how many are going try this or the service that I'm selling. So until you 3 of those options, then you haven't quite defined your market size, which is very critical. As we raise funding towards the end of your app or your tech, investors are going to ask you how big is the market, because the bigger the market, the bigger the amount you need to out of it. And then this model then comes in. You deal the problem, you have the model is now the very backbone of the business. The question is, how will I make money? Will I buy it at X and sell it at 2X? Or will I buy it at X and then lease it out for them? Or is it a simple service? They come online and then they pay a subscription. So all of this are different. There's so many business models that we might not go into detail because every business is difficult. But the key pointers are that you need to, when you're building your tech or you're building your innovation, you need to have an idea of how much that product or service will contribute to your revenue. So this goes back to, if you're going to depend on one product, then you have a higher risk in the event that product doesn't go. Right now, maybe if you're only selling one type of furniture and COVID-19 is here now, you can't sell the same furniture because people don't have the same buying capacity. But if someone was selling furniture, at the same time selling smaller decorative items, at the same time was providing even interior consultancy, then you can leverage on the different revenue streams. So at the business model, you need to ask yourself, what is it that am I selling? What's the gross profit? So if I sell it at 100 shillings, what does it cost me? From a study that was done at Harvard, if you're not making at least 40% gross profit, then it's going to be difficult to sustain that model. It doesn't hold for every business. Sometimes when you're in retail, 10%, 20% is sustainable. But research finds that 40% is quite favorable for businesses. And then again, you need to ask yourself, especially when it's tech, is it a freemium model where you give someone a 1 month free? This is very common on Netflix, where you have a 1 month free to entice someone, captivate them, and then they start paying you in month through to when they stop paying, if at all. So that's on the business model. And then when the business and you come to proprietary technology expertise. So this is the part where when you're in your business or your tech or your innovation, it's the one part you're allowed to blow your trumpet. And this is where you share why no one else can build the tech or your app that you're building. Now, most of the times you'll hear entrepreneurs saying, we are the cheapest, right? Which is never the truth, because Chinese, I think, have really come out clearly saying that they have a very nice copy me strategy where they see what you've done, they copy it, and they do it at a fraction of your cost. So always try to differentiate yourself on things like, I know this problem because I grew up with it, or I know this problem because my parents went through it. Use things like your team. When you're building a tech innovation, you sometimes bring in people across and you want to use them and say, my team has an experience with, they did this 10 years ago, or you might have worked at corporate, you've now resigned, you're starting a business. Partners is also a thing to use, right? Saying that we're working with Safaricom on this, or we're working with UAP Insurance. So partners allow people to understand, and allows also you yourself to have some expertise that your competition would not have. And we'll come again to how we look at competition. And so yeah, when we talk about cheaper, it's always chicken and egg situation. Which one is it? Is it cheaper because you can build it faster, or is it cheaper because you can build it at a lower quality? So most of the time, businesses or ideas are judged on the affordability, the speed that you can develop it, and the quality. So when you're looking at your idea, especially in the tech, every business or every tech or every innovation has a competition. Sometimes we have this idea, and I struggled with it initially when we were building sensors for greenhouses, where we felt that we were the only company that was doing it using SMS, which was not true. As we grew the company, we realized there were 5 other companies that were doing it. So if you look at the example of provided on Netflix, if you think about it, doesn't really compete with movies or HBO. It does compete for your attention, right? Netflix believes that we need to be able to captivate you, that you don't need to go and check your Facebook or spend time with your family or even go for a picnic. You just want to finish from work and go and watch Netflix. So when we are talking about competition, don't look at the issue of cost, don't look at the issue of qualities, and don't look at the issue of time majorly, but look at also the other values that you're providing with your tech or with your innovation. Then again, it's always important once you've talked about your competition to talk about why your solution is better. So is it the technology? Are you using modern technology? Is it easy, or is it it is easy to implement as well? Is you look at the time, so how much time does it take for you to make it new so that you can share that if you use tech, you spread out 2 times the time that you've used before. Again, you'd come to the quality. It's always important, again, compare quality. But remember, it might not be a competitive edge, but it's the one thing that you can use to differentiate your product offering. That once you figure all that out, the other part that is very important is how do you go to market, right? How do you launch? That's the very challenge that most entrepreneurs face. How do I launch? For us, when we started, we went online. That time, Google had started something called the Kenya Business Online. We created a website and we created a Facebook page and we posted photos. And that's how we started. And then social media right now is going to be a very key tech growth strategy. So if you have any idea right now, I'd really advise that you post it on social media and test it out, see what the market says. And then what are the tools that you'll need to start in the very beginning? Now, you will realize that with the solutions that I'm proposing, all of them are online, because there's a simple rule. The faster you can get money into your business, the faster you can take it out, and the faster you can make decisions concerning money. When you're starting, accounting is very important. I've given some examples. You can use QuickBooks. It's very good. It's an online cloud accounting system. Whereas is an actually free one. You can start with that, or even Google Excel. So Google Docs or Google Sheets, good. You can start very simple accounting. So the point here is to be able to access your books from wherever. You're not analog where you have to open a book and write down your expenses. You're trying to be online and be able to update all that in real time. The second thing is you're seeing is online banking. Now, I wouldn't advise entrepreneurs not to have online banking. Why? Because sometimes when a client pays you, you need real-time verification that the payment is coming and you're able to expense in real time and provide that value. If you still need to go and check with your bank or to write a check for you to pay a supplier, sometimes those delays make your competition be able to do to be able to take over your market faster than you can. Also, online payment platforms are important. So it's M-Pesa, of course. You need to, if you have an idea, you have to think of a till number or a bank to M-Pesa directly. There's also PesaPal, where you can integrate from your app directly, or iPay. And then finally is online petty cash. So once someone pays you, say through PesaPal, you check through online banking, the money is there. You need to pay your suppliers or your stakeholders. Now, if it means that you need to, again, sit down, write a check, and then they cash it in, you have to wait for 2 days, that supplier might have already started focusing on another customer that is providing money in real-time value. So there's a new app called Popote Pay, which you pay per transaction, and it allows you to have a dual approval system. So you can create the payment and someone within your company can approve, or you can create the payment and also categorize on what expense you're paying for. So all of this linked together, because from Popote Pay, if you're running expenses, you can transfer those transactions to QuickBooks, and QuickBooks can tell you in real time if you're profitable or not. Online banking allows you to reconcile on time. Online payment allows you to receive money on time as well. And then you come back to your team. So I just took a couple of photos and threw it here, but the idea here is who's going to be head of the organization. So most of the time it's the CEO, definitely, and we call them the hustler because they're the ones who come up with the idea. That the CTO is always the best person there, and how you pick a CTO is maybe by sharing some equity. In the very beginning, you don't have money. That's definitely true. It becomes difficult to pay them, so you can try and entice them with equity. And then also you need a design person who then design the entire app and the entire innovation idea in terms of how do we package it for customers, how do we what do we sell, what do we talk about more. So all of those I can work with initially. Usually I say it's sometimes advisable to have a co-founder, but it's not times, because it gets to a point in my experience where when the business is supposed to take off, you're having disagreements on certain ways. So it's very difficult to find co-founders that you can sync with, but if you find that, that will be great. And then we have the money, which is the most important part. So when you're starting, usually the best place to start is with four founders, the four F's: founders, friends, family, or fools. And then you have other partners that can help you. I'll share this slide. And of that I've listed for example, the Just Tech Eye gives people up to $10,000 for free to ideate. So we can always talk about who you want to target and how you can write grant applications to them. Any questions?
Can I go first?
Yes, Dennis.
Thank you. Pleasure meeting you. Thank you for the opportunity to just share what you have. We look up to the business success and we want to spare to the nuggets of them with us. I have two questions, Taita, and to the group. One is how far should one diversify in their business? Like, well, today you start a greenhouse. How far should you venture into selling timber, furniture, building, and construction? How far should the diversity go? And number two, in terms of website, we know that you have to pay for web hosting. If you are in the size that any who can say for you're starting hustlers, you said those platforms that can host our websites for free. So those would be my two questions. Thank you.
Great. If I can answer directly, diversity, it has to be within the sector. So if you are in, for example, healthcare or fintech, you can diversify within that vertical. Let's take healthcare. If you're providing I can diversify and say, let me offer, usually consultancy advice is usually the easiest within what you've been doing, because it's assumed you're doing it because you understand it easier than other people. But I would advise the diversity within that sector, and you will realize that diversity is given to you by your customers. For example, in furniture, and someone says, I want this furniture, I love it, but do you also do interior design? So let's take this and name. Then you start, oh, by the way, I think I can do that. Then you do interior design, and then a customer says, okay, thank you. You have the interior design, but can you be able to finance for me this furniture? And start thinking, maybe I can give out this furniture at 100 shillings, and then people pay me pole pole until I have 200 shillings. So I would say stick within the same sector and let the customers tell you what they want, and then you diversify within what they're saying. The second question was on, could you just repeat the second question?
It was about hosting, web hosting, starting website there.
Okay, so there's Wix.com. They offer free hosting in the beginning. There's also WordPress.com also offer free hosting. Those two, I think, are the leading free hosting. But again, the problem is your domain will be tied to them, so it's going to be, say, good.com, or if it's business.wix.com. So that's the problem. They usually give you very nice websites to start with. If you want to buy a domain, it costs you 2,000. So over time, you might save up that 2,000, then buy your own domain.
Thank you so much.
Any other question?
Yeah, Taita, thank you so much. This is Ben. Maybe a quick one. You've talked about a number of tools, the QuickBooks, the online tools, the online banking. Would you recommend that, we kind of interface each one of them, or we can work with each one of them independently?
I would advise that we start learning to use all of them together, because all of them, PesaPal brings in the money. Online banking allows you to check. QuickBooks shows you in real time if you're making money or not. Then the petty cash allows you to see how you're spending that money. Why I'm saying all the four have to happen at the same time is because if you perfect your accounting and your online banking, and then you're expensing via cash or vouchers, then your employees can start stealing from you on the voucher side, which is a very common thing when you're starting a business. So if you start teaching yourself to close the loop, then it becomes easier, and you can start managing your growth easily. Why, again, I'm stressing on before is when you're approaching investors, they're going to ask how exactly are you controlling your money? And if you can prove to them that it's a tight cycle where all of it is transparent via online, it becomes easier to raise capital.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
Any other
I
question,
think we have 3 minutes.
Let me check whether anybody has posted on the menti.com.
Okay.
By the way, we are having a challenge logging on to Menti. It's taking time to load. I don't know whether I'm the only one facing the challenge.
Oh, is it?
A bit slow.
No questions as of now. The code is 867277. Anyone else? Maybe you can ask directly.
I think there are two questions. There's on the chat, there's someone who said that you could also use www.webhostkenya.co.ke as a hosting solution. That's a good feedback as well. As long as you check the security levels and you're comfortable, you can always go forward. And then there's a second question: are the online all free except data, or they charge a fee? Some of them are free. Some of them charge a fee. For example, the online accounting software such as QuickBooks, they charge a fee, but Waze is free. So based on the level of ideation you are in, if you're creating some money, you can always use the paid versions. If you're still starting out at idea, you can use the free versions.
Okay, I think there's a question on the screen. Should I have the IT skills to start the app?
You can, if it is always important, because as you grow that business, the IT is going to be a key differentiating factor. But if you don't, you can have a co-founder that can come in and help you with that, who's good in tech.
Good. We can take the other one, I think. Yeah. So what opportunities could you say exist in the building and construction sector in Kenya from a tech perspective? So just
Yes,
we are under a minute. Just in case, I think we can jump in back in case it drops.
okay.
Sorry for that. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, there is right now, I think people, there's iBuild, which is a new company, a tech company that is connecting technicians to people who are building houses. So instead of going out and looking for watu wa mkono, you can now go online and search for them and request them to come to your site. So in terms of the building and construction, there's one in terms of connecting the people to the market. Two is even purchasing things online. There's a huge opportunity for people to buy